Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. The lighting in here today, am I right? Lighting aside, today's card project is all about simple watercolor. I've got a brand new stamp set by Neenah for Colorado Craft Company. And today's the first time I actually have coordinating dies to cut out what I paint. I'm really excited about this card project. It is simple, but not too simple, right? And if you are afraid of painting or think that you can't, grab some dye inks, a cheap paintbrush, and we're gonna go to town. Well, we're not actually gonna go to town. We're just gonna paint a card, but you know what I mean. That card project is coming up next. It's the lip gloss. So here's a look at the stamps and dies that I'm going to be using today. I have some excitement because I'm going to get to cut out whatever I stamp and paint. Now look at how sweet this is. Oh, this is called A Star is Born. And I kind of love that on the back, it gives some ideas for painting. And honestly, I might have this as a guide because I never know. I always paint my little guys, gray, but I might mix it up a little. I'm gonna go, I think, with this friend because it's still big, but it's small enough that I think I'm gonna be comfortable painting it. Let's get started with stamping and then we'll start to paint, shall we? I'm going to be using some Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock today, which, I really like this cardstock, mostly because it is so bright white and beautiful. And let's see here, I'm going to take a few of the stars, right? Just kind of take a big one, or take the medium, take the little. I think I'm going to do one big one too. I don't know what I'll do with it yet. That looks good. I'm going to pick it up with the MISTI door, and then again, always make sure when you're using the stamp positioner to put it right back in the corner so that nothing shifts. I'm going to just kind of condition this a little by rubbing my hands over it, although I think it will stamp just beautifully. I'm going to be stamping with VersaFine Onyx Black because I'm going to be painting, and this is a water-friendly ink. So let's ink up our friend here. Cute little mouse with the star. Oh, so cute. Black and my stars. Push in the corner, bring this down, and I will grab my stamp positioner tool and give that a nice press to transfer the images and ink to my cardstock. Now the side that I'm using is a little bit nubby, so I'm definitely going to stamp this again. Although the stars look pretty good, I just need a little more detail in my mouse. All right, let's press you. And of course, these stamps get more conditioned over time the more you use them. Brand new stamps come with a residue coating, and so if you ever get crappy impressions, it's not you. It's just the residue. And once they're primed and conditioned, they're going to look great. I'm going to start out with one color for the stars, mustard seed, and I've got two little jars of water. These are just the jars that I use when I'm painting. Just kind of keep them off camera. I try to remember one is clean and one is dirty, but I tell you what, I forget and then I mess everything up. I've also got just a little bit of paper towel here because sometimes I just like to dab off, and I've got my little Art Impressions palette. All I'm going to do is just smush in some of my mustard seed. And we're going to start painting. I'm not going to wet anything first. I'm just going to get my brush wet, pick up some of this color. And this is what size is this? This is a number 2. And it's a very affordable brush. This is not anything that's going to break the bank. And I'm just going to start painting. Now, I could have, I'm going to get a little more water on that to kind of spread it out a bit. I could have done a little embossing on this VersaFine, because what that would have done is created sort of a little ledge for me and would have contained the ink. In fact, I don't know why I didn't do that. In fact, that's a great tip for new painters. If you're ever struggling to stay inside the lines, you can use, where do I have it here? You can use clear embossing ink over the VersaFine and heat set it, and it will create a nice little ledge. But I'm kind of going wild here, and we're just going to see what happens. And I'm trying to create a little depth and dimension on one side and kind of just have it water out a little. See that? It's very subtle. I might need another little smush to go darker on the other stars. So let's try that. Okay. And just touch in like that. One of the things I love about this Anita Jerem collection is that they are not, well, most of what I choose to work with is very easy to paint. And it's not going to challenge you that much because you really can keep this so simple. And that's what I tend to do. And that's how come I feel that I still enjoy painting. Painting is a little more whimsical, right? And so if you have something that is not, sheer perfection, it's okay, because I think it's still going to look cute. And that is kind of the idea with watercolor. You want it to feel a little more organic. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I think sometimes we get hung up on coloring. I know I do, because I don't love coloring with Copics. I do it sometimes, and sometimes I do it really well, and sometimes I just get really frustrated with it because I'm not a natural Copic kind of girl. But there are my stars, and those are very sweet. And that's what I'm going for. Okay, I really think that this is cute. And I wonder what would happen if I tried to, I'm going to try to paint it just like that. There's nothing wrong with, I'm even just going to slide it right. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to be using this packaging because I'm going to keep this in another package. So I'm going to put that right there as my guide. Let's just wipe away the mustard seed. I want to leave space for his ears to be pink. In fact, I wonder, should I start with the ears? Because here's what I've got. I've got pumice stone, I've got tea dye, and I've got worn lipstick. So I'll put a little worn lipstick down. I'll put a little tea dye down. And that's not quite the same, but I really like tea dye. And pumice stone. That looks much darker, I think, than it is. But let's start up here with his ears. Okay, we're gonna give those ears a little love with the worn lipstick, which I think is a perfect pink for ears. I'll just go with a nice bit of light, right, like that. And then I'm going to make sure my brush is a little drier, pick up more saturated color, like that for the center. See how that works? Just a little darker in the center. Just kind of like I see on the picture. That's another great tip for coloring. And I have done this, where you have a critter and you're really not sure what he's supposed to look like. You can, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm giving him pink feet. You can just Google cartoons of whatever you are looking, like go to Google search, do, mouse cartoon. Because I think what cartoons do, when you see what other, illustrators and people who know how to draw, what they show you is like this most basic setting of color. And I find that to be really helpful. Now, see, I love this because, okay, little hands. Let's do a little on the hands. I guess you could almost call this a paint by number, right? You found something on the package. By golly, use it. Oh, I like that. Now, this is a totally different color star, so I may come in and darken my star because that's much deeper, almost like well, I can't think of the color, but here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to take a little bit of the pumice stone. I probably have too much on there. And see how I'm kind of drawing it out? Oh, well. See how I'm kind of drawing it out to water it a bit? I'm going to make his belly like this. Just coming around. Just like in the picture. Just like in the picture. Picking that up. And just bring that down like that. You can even, you know, go over a little like that. Look at that. So there's his belly. And I'm going to go under the star a little, just like, oh, that's a little too much water, just like in the picture. Because it's kind of like a reverse image. See that? So there's his little star. Now that, see, I don't know, is that tea dye too much? I'm going to grab a different color. I'm going to try Vintage Photo. Vintage Photo is more of a brown. So let's bring in some clean water. Let's draw it out and see how that starts to look. See that? Well, even that, I mean, I feel like this is almost gray meets brown. So I wonder what would happen if I pick up a little pumice stone and just kind of bring that in. You can mix colors. See, that's the other beautiful thing about painting, right? We can bring in a little pumice stone, get a little more. Oh, I'm splattering all over my piece, but that's okay because we're die cutting. And then you can start to get a color, let's see here, that might be exactly what you're looking for. I think that'll work, right? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna leave a little by his nose, and I'm just gonna come in here and just paint. I like that little bit of white that they left around the back of his eye. I'll go over that with, I think that's very cute, okay? Kinda. And then we'll just come down. We'll just come down his little body. Like that. Like that. Little. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but we're playing. We're adding a little spot here and then coming in here and making it like that. You know, kind of just adding the spots, right? I don't know. I think that's kind of cute. And then a little spot here. That looks really a lot like what I'm, isn't that cute? I would never think to do that. I'm going to come in a little closer here in his eye because I think right now I'm making him look exceptionally bug-eyed. That's better. All right. And now I'm going to smush down a little more pink because I want to add a little darkness right to his tip of his nose, like that. And maybe I wet this down. A little bit on his cheek, like that. Now here's the thing. This is not going to win any awards, but you know what? Oh, I think it's pretty cute, right? I want to bring in a little more yellow. I'm going to grab Fossilized Amber, and I think I'm going to update these stars just a little, okay? I'm going to try to figure out how to do this, okay? Oh, that is a definite different shade, isn't it? Look at that. That might not work for what I'm doing, but we'll see. We'll see. Tapping a little off, and I'm just gonna bring some in like that. Like that for a little, just a little more depth. And actually, that's good. I like that. Maybe a little more here underneath. And then let's go over here and do the same thing. I definitely splatter when I paint. I always forget. I think when I'm mixing, you can't be too aggressive, and I actually went right out of my star there, but that's okay. Even though it's a little bit out of the border, that's okay. Just darkening that up. Okay. Now I actually think that's really cute, and this is when I would walk away. It's okay to have a little messy out there. You know what I mean? That's not going to hurt anything. So I'm going to let this dry completely. It won't take long. And we'll grab the dies and we'll cut this out. Here's a little fun thing. If you have one of these, and this is a new tool. I mean, this is new in the craft/dining room. You can also use the Ranger Heat It tool just to facilitate the dry process, right? It's not going to hurt anything. It's such a nice, even sort of diffused heat. I really like it for drying. So you can do that if you want, or you can just be patient. And again, if you did that like me, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. It's going to be fine. I have the coordinating dies taped into place. We'll put the top plate on and let's run this through and see how they cut. Come back through. little squeaky there. Slide you, and we have, oh, how cute is that? It cuts out little bits around the tail. Oh my gosh. Like I said, the joy, and see, you don't even notice that I did a subpar job with that painting. Let's pop that through. Well, could have done a little better on that one, but that's okay. And you know what, that start might be too big for what I'm planning. Now we can move on to creating a background to create a home for this little cutie. I'm pretty sure I cut this out with the wrong die, so I'm gonna redo that one off camera because it was like, that's next level. So let's just get one more star. I'll do that. I'll be right back. This is where I decide on card design. I don't know if I want this to be, and honestly, I don't know if there's going to be room for that. There might not be, because I like a couple of the greetings. I like Shine Bright Little Star, right? But I would want to have room for it. And if I were to go this way, which I do love, I love my portrait orientation cards, I could do more with the sky. And maybe we would just stamp Shine Bright Little Star right off to the side, and I would do a little grounding just with a little ink blending or something. I don't know. I don't think I'll paint on here, although I could, but it's not gonna, I don't know what this paper's gonna do. But I want to make a little night sky with Villainous Potion and Prize Ribbon. I brought out my little waffle flower mat for blending because I always forget that I have blending tools, and someone the other day said, Cathy, why don't you just get, rather than a piece of scratch cardstock, why don't you get your mat out? And I thought, well, let's do that. Okay, so this is actually the stencil mat, but it's pretty cool. Let's start here with the Villainous Potion, all right? I'm just gonna kind of rub that in, load up my brush, and I'm gonna create something at the top here. Just something coming in for a bit of a night sky. That. Something pretty and simple. Let's kind of blend that up top. I'm fully planning to trim this panel a little bit. But I'll just come in here with this color. I recently did another video that I'll be sure to link up top where I used the Distress Oxide version of Villainous Potion, but here we're just going to stick with the regular Distress formula. Of course, these are full-size pads for now. The way Ranger and Tim Holtz work it, they will, once there's 4 new ones, they'll release the mini cube collections, and I love having the minis as well. So now I'm gonna try to come in a little bit lighter here. I'm just going to add this to the sky, just like that. Nothing too heroic. Just going to blend that in like that. Create a pretty night sky. And then I'll just softly fade that down like that. Very, very lightly. Okay. Again, just come in the purple, like that. And we're just creating a sky. Just kind of blending that out. All right. I think I'll bring in a little bit more purple. Villainous Potion. Bring that up top, darken it a bit. All right. I am going to grab my little friend here and see what happens if he's placed. No, he's going to be placed kind of there, right? And then I think I'll do a greeting next to it. So what I have to decide is, do I want to stamp my greeting sooner than later? And I think that I do. So let me get my MISTI and then we'll come back to the mat because I have another idea. Okay, had a change of heart because I think I am going to stamp my greeting in black because I want it to pop here. I thought about doing it in silver, and I still might. Here's what I'm going to do next. I'm kind of obsessed with this little friend, which is some Kuretake I can't pronounce it. These are my Kuretake paints, the Gansai Tambi. And this is actually a pan. It's number 95. I had to look it up for someone on YouTube because they asked me what color that was, because apparently you can buy these individually. And it is listed as a silver, right? So I don't have a ton of metallic paint. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray in here off camera, just kind of wet my pan down a little. And then I'm going to mist off this brush. This is my fan brush. I'm going to move this over, and hopefully I won't flick onto my computer screen, but I'm going to add, and that might even be too much water. Maybe not though. I'm going to flick on some flicks, and actually I am going to put a little towel over my computer. My computer is off in the distance, and I never know how much flicking is going to affect things. Usually I get a box, but I think we'll just do this. Just flick, 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 flick up in the sky for some silver. And actually, I do need to wipe because I should have gotten the box out. I just flicked paint all over my mat. You're going to get that little bit of distress reaction. But when this dries, it will have a nice shimmer to it. So I'm going to set that aside and let it dry completely. I've decided that I'm going to do "You're a Star Student" here at the bottom, and I'm going to stamp this and emboss it in silver because I think I want this to be centered. I think it's going to have a better look. So let's get my embossing magic. We'll just powder this up so that my embossing powder only sticks to where I use my embossing ink, which is going to be the Versamark. Slide this over here, and let's ink this up really well. Okay. I'll bring this down and press with my stamp tool. And just transfer that ink. Oh, there was hair under there. That's not surprising. There's always a little hair showing up in the craft/dining room. And I'll sprinkle on my silver powder right there on that greeting at the bottom. Like that. Oh, that's going to look really pretty. And it'll pick up sort of the silver in the splatters. I'm going to take my little dry brush here. Just brush away any little tiny pieces of powder that stick where you don't want them. Right. Now I think that is going to be really pretty with the shine. I think I want to just barely trim it, right? I just want this to be ever so slightly smaller than my card base. So let's look at that like that, you know. I'm going to run that through my die cut machine and trim that panel down. I'll do that really quickly off camera. Let's create our card base. This will be a US A2 top folding. So this will fold down to be 4 1/4 wide by 5 1/2 tall. Give that a good press. Like that. I'll take the backers off the foam tape. And I like how this can help flatten out your panel if there's any warping. And I'm going to stand up here so I can look down over the top. I'm going to offset that from that little, because it's just going to be the thinnest margin. See that? And I like that. It just gives a nice little framing element to the card, right? You get a little bit of that white border all the way around. I love that Anita's signature is part of the die cut. Oh, it's so cute. And now all we're going to do, I am not worried that he's grounding on anything. I think it's fine. I just want him to be right in the center of my card. His body is in the center, right? Oh, so cute. And then we'll get the next star up, which will be that, well, do I want to go like that and then have that like that? Ooh, now I'm torn. Or did I want to, You know what? I think I'm going to have that star there. And again, I have thin foam squares, by the way, on the back of everyone here, both my little mouse friend and that. And we'll just sort of tilt that up there like that. Oh, how cute is that? Now, here's the thing. I am not the world's best watercolor artist, but you wouldn't know. Look at what that is. I think it turned out really great. Also, there's a lot of shimmer in the splatter here. And I love the colors for the night sky. It's a very simple design, but friends, if I can watercolor with just a little bit of Distress ink, you can too. So give it a try. Use your dye inks for painting and see what shakes out. You can find all the supplies for this card project linked below in the information box. I'll see you back here with another card project soon. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.